allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Councilwoman Biancardi.
Here.
Councilwoman Bozak. Here. Councilman Loving.
Here.
Councilwoman Scott. Here. Councilwoman McCart. Here.
Approval of minutes for January 12th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Biancardi.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak.
Yes.
Councilman Loving.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Approval of minutes for January 19th, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Bozak.
Yes.
Councilman Loving.
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart.
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Okay, Jean.
As you guys are aware, I was in Indianapolis. Spent a lot of my time talking to people yesterday from AIM, legislators from both House and Senate. The business personal property tax bill, Senate Bill 378 will not move forward during this session. Senator Holdman was the chairman of the Senate Tax and Finance Policy Committee, said publicly that he was not interested in moving forward any bill that would cut the local government revenues without a replacement. So that's outstanding. We're excited about that. Unfortunately, there's still a House Bill 102, 1002, that is proposing a tax credit for various state taxes to offset business personal property tax for the 30% depreciation floor, and also will have a provision to eliminate the 30% elimination floor on new equipment purchased. That is still in the mix. Last night, the governor said he would like to see the 30% floor go away. And so I don't know if that will move any of the representatives or senators to vote to eliminate it or not. But the feeling is that this isn't over, and we need to keep working on it. And as Clay has said, and we've talked about this before, it's a short session. So maybe by mid-March, hopefully at the latest, we should have some kind of idea of what's, if not sooner, whether or not any of this is going to pass. And it won't affect us immediately. We'll see when, if something passes, we have to see what the bill says first. So it won't happen, it won't hit us this year, but it will, if something passes, it will hit us. So that's what I have from that.
Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
So if they don't take the floor away and they offer us tax credit, that's not going to come from our local community. It'll come from the state.
That is the impression I'm getting,
Okay.
is that the state
They're the ones that'll provide the money for the credit.
would potentially provide that.
Okay. All right.
So we'll, see what ends up ultimately getting passed. But,
Okay.
but that's where we stand right now. So, I did get to see our local rep, Chuck Mosley. He was there last night. Got to chat with him a little bit about it and some other things as well. And our senator was absent, but I'm sure he, we can chat with him. I'm sure he would make himself available if anybody wanted to talk to him. That's what I have. I wanted to talk to you about, I know that we talked earlier when we got the 1782 notice from the state that our CCD fund was not established at 4 cents, even though we had adopted a resolution to set it for 4 cents for 3 years. But based on the way the state does their budgeting and adjusting for market trending and stuff, our cumulative capital development fund was only at 0.391 cents. So we talked about reestablishing that. I will try and get that public hearing set for your March meeting, because there's a deadline to get that done to the state. So we can set that back at 4 cents per hundred, as you guys were hoping to do. And also, Karen and I were able to convert the 4-digit fund numbers to 4-digit fund numbers, as you guys saw in your most recent fund reports. So it's gonna take Karen and I some time to get used to them, because some of them are very similar and easy. Some of them are very different, and some of the names are very different. And so it's gonna take us a little bit of time to get used to them, but we have been successful in converting over to the 4-digit fund number and new names required by state for 2022.
Jeannie, I have a question about that. So when you say the fund numbers, I just want to be clear, does that include like, is that part of like what they put on these forms, or is this a totally, okay, so.
So the first, I don't have my.
So it's like the approach, like, so this says 243.
So the first 3 digits of the appropriation number used to be the fund number. So 101 was general.
Okay.
General is now 1101. So the first 4 digits of the appropriation number are now going to be the fund number.
Did you send those numbers out to everyone?
I can't remember. I
Okay,
know I sent them to the council for a conversion. I cannot swear if the department heads were on that or not. I'll write myself a note
can
to
you make
do
sure
it
you send
again.
it to the clerks so that when they do purchase orders, they're filled out right, so that you guys aren't sitting there trying, and with the new names, because in the spreadsheets that they have,
Sure.
they have the 3-digit codes with the old names. So if anyone needs help switching those around, just let me know.
Right. And some of them, like the general fund, general fund went from 101 to 1101, and it's still called general.
Okay.
So some of the ones they use the most will probably be very simple, but I will certainly send that out. I can't recall if I sent it to department. I'll do that.
Okay, Roseanne, do you have anything?
No, not at this time.
Tony,
No.
Jennifer, did you send it to Martin? Hold on one second. Did you send it to Martin?
So I did.
He was texting me, so I was just trying to.
Welcome.
Hi. No, thanks for joining us. Claire, I do have one quick question
Yes.
with her. Is she allowed to sign purchase orders, or is she allowed to vote, or?
Has she been sworn in?
No, I did.
Nobody swore you in?
Did
She
we
can't,
get
she can't participate.
No, it was a
in the
virtual
meeting.
meeting.
No, she was not appointed until,
Last Thursday.
okay, so I guess I presume that she was.
I was
sworn
sworn in at my appointment.
You were sworn in by Kathy from the voter registration
Yeah.
office when you were elected. So if she doesn't have, does she have any of her, do you have your oath? That comes from the clerk's office.
No, nobody's giving me anything. I didn't even realize this was, I thought Jen took care of all of this.
And Jane, you don't have the. forms that you-
I could try and go online and see if it's online, but
No,
nobody
no,
sent
no,
it.
like the
to my
ones that I
office.
sign when people are on the various boards or
But
whatever.
it isn't,
No,
there's a state oath.
No, I know what you're saying, but I didn't know.
I mean, here's what we could do. If you want to give me a few minutes, I could pull an old oath.
I say get
So
rid
she
of
could
ours.
officially take the oath
Yeah.
now, and we could get the form and have her sign it later. Would that be acceptable, Clay, you think?
I'm so sorry, I figured Julie took care of all.
My oath might
You're
be
the first
sitting
time
in
to
the
respell
mailbox.
this stuff, so.
I'll go get it, the language of the oath.
Her and I have had a good couple times. Okay, so when she's sworn in, is she allowed to sign purchase orders?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know, because I know she can't vote, I just didn't know she could sign purchase orders for the police.
Oh, for the police,
For the-
that's
yeah.
like, replied, I replied, anything to do with the police.
Anything with- okay,
department, she
that's fine.
should abstain.
Okay.
And then John, you kind of have a little question mark in your head, either ask or just abstain.
Yeah. I didn't sign it. That's why I had a little second, maybe, but I wanted to double check.
You reading.
You want these answers?
But what paper could be signed through?
You want to administer it?
Yeah.
She said some. Papers withdrew.
But Drew might have the authority to swear her in.
Yeah, it still needs to be, yeah, here's the new stuff.
Yeah, so this is the official oath that elected officials take, and only certain people can swear you in. So Drew
Yeah.
probably did not. Oh, you're saying you didn't get sworn in? Drew didn't
No.
swear you in.
This doesn't say, like, I'm a notary, or you can do it as a clerk treasurer.
Yeah, so-
I don't know, me, I can. Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Jennifer McCord,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently discharge
and diligently discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Burns Harbor Town Council
of Burns Harbor Town Council
according to law
according to law
and the best of my ability.
and the best of my ability.
Your official.
She can participate in this meeting.
Temporarily official until we get that, so I'm gonna have to sign that.
You're gonna have to sign it, and this has to get taken to the clerk's office and recorded, and has to have a copy here in the office. So we'll.
So who's
we'll
gonna
get
do
this.
that? Are you gonna,
Are you in the courthouse tomorrow?
Can
I can take it tomorrow after.
well,
You-
we've got to get the paper, we've got to find out if we can download this. We'll work it
what's
out.
that? phone
Let's work it
number?
out after. the
What's that
meeting.
phone number? Top right.
CEB 22, state form 48231.
CEB 22, that's fine.
Mhm. So if we can print it out and get it signed, it's got to go to the clerk's office at the county, and a copy needs here. Okay. Okay. Our assistant heard it.
No. Okay.
Tony,
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Nick, do you have anything?
No, I don't. Congratulations, Jennifer.
Thank you. Me and Tony met with Cleveland Cliffs online. Was that yesterday?
It was.
Yesterday. And we discussed 3 things. One was Shady Side. They're working on a letter. I don't know what they're doing, but the letter is supposed to be coming. I have the form, if you need this form.
You have it,
Yeah.
CEB 20, okay.
The letter's coming so that Rob and his crew can get it pulled, get the equipment pulled out at least, and then they're actively working on the land donation for Shady Side.
Can I just, so I spoke with a representative who I think may be one of their outside counsel, and then Keith Nagel emailed me this afternoon. And Mr. Nagel is the Director of Environmental Land and Remediation. My dear Mr. Patton, I understand your legal counsel of the town of Burns Harbor. I understand that on behalf of the town, you requested that Tecumseh Redevelopment Inc. give written permission to the town to promptly remove and dispose of certain playground equipment located on Oak Leaf Lane between Shady Side Road and Forest Lane, and which is situated on or proximate to land leased by Tecumseh to the town of Burns Harbor. I'm the Director, Environment, Land and Remediation of Cleveland Cliffs Inc., the ultimate parent company of Tecumseh. To the extent that Tecumseh actually is the owner of the land on which the playground equipment is located, and to the extent that Tecumseh actually has authority to give permission to remove and dispose of the playground equipment, this emails permission given by Tecumseh for the town to proceed to promptly remove and properly dispose of the playground equipment. Lastly, Tecumseh is proceeding to prepare a donation agreement under the terms of which, as you discussed with our strategic advisor, Terry Thomas of Woodbury Business Advisors, Tecumseh plans to donate to the town the leased land along with other real property owned by Tecumseh located proximate to the leased land. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me.
So they gave us permission in that email to
Mhm.
pull it out? Okay, so you guys, when it's nice enough, or when you have some downtime, start ripping it out.
And I'll forward this to the council, to Jane,
Thank you.
to Robert, should
That'd be good
anybody
to
else
have
in the
that.
town besides the elected officials and Rob.
Can you also give it to Kim,
Okay,
just because it's technically park equipment? That way she has a copy of it too.
okay.
What they're talking about donating is the entire strip, not just the leased property. They're trying to donate that entire part of Shady Side over there, because we made it clear that just the leased part, we'd still, they would still have to come maintain part of it, so they just want to get rid of all of it.
Mhm.
So they're working on that. The other thing was three things. The third one. being the major one. The second thing was the ambulance service. The help they are offering is a $4,000 to $6,000 grant that we can apply for. Other than that, that is all financial support they're willing to offer. And that is for just equipment for the fire department. They're opening an RFP for a fire service contract at the mill, that they are allowing us to bid on if you would like to. So with that being said, Nick and Jennifer and Bill, I emailed you guys, like, we need to start figuring out how to move forward with whatever it is. Can you guys lay out all of our options? I've seen all the options you can possibly come up with in the next month or two. So work on that. And then I think that might have been it. Tony, was the RFP the third thing?
Yeah, yes, it was. And they also mentioned that they do have in their grant
Oh.
options park equipment.
Yes, there's a grant, they can apply for park equipment, for playground equipment for Shady Side. It's due March 1st.
June 1st and
or
September.
1st. And if anyone needs help, oh, no, that was the other thing. Needs help filling out, they can contact Rhiannon and Trigus, and I can send her info. She said that she'd be able to help.
Yeah, if you want to
whoever's
send me
left.
an email on
Yeah.
that, and then.
The other thing was the tax abatements.
Hmm,
That was the third thing. They will have their
SB1.
SB1 to us by the compliance date in May.
Okay,
Tony did say that they need to send a narrative with it.
I asked that
I
if,
think they're very confused still about what's actually needed for this though.
well, as we explained to them, right, their SB1 is not going to reflect what the resolution is that was adopted. And so their narrative needs to explain why, and they have talked to us that basically their priorities are different than what ArcelorMittal's was. And so we explained to them that if that's the case, then they need to start a process with us, and the resolutions that no longer apply would need to be rescinded, and resolutions that of the projects that they are keeping that had been previously approved would have a new resolution. And then anything outside of that is brand new abatement and needs brand new resolutions. So that was what was explained. And they understand that until they request from us for that process to start, that it won't unless they were to submit the SB1, and those discrepancies then might trigger us to say there's an issue with the tax abatement on our end. Is that right?
Can I get clarification? SB1s, new SB1s, because SB1s are what they submit when they ask for abatement. Are you talking about
Mm.
CF1s?
I think it's their CF, it's their compliant.
Yes, I'm sorry. The
report
report that they, I think she said SB1 though,
She
but
did say SB1.
the report that they submit annually
since they have the tax
Correct.
abatement, so it's an.
But maybe
it's a
they're,
step
maybe they're thinking they're gonna submit a new one. I don't know. We'll have to see what comes
Like
in.
I said,
I don't feel like there is anything for us to act on
No.
until something comes from them.
I did say that if they needed more information, that Rick needed to reach out or, and let someone know exactly what they were still, what more information they would still need to finish this process.
Yeah.
So they've had emails, we talked to them.
I don't want to discourage tax abatement. I'm not trying to discourage this situation. I'm just pointing out that if the state decides to adopt something that deals with eliminating some portion of business personal property tax, board council members may want to take that into consideration in the future about what types of abatements you're offering. Because if you're granting them 10 years worth of abatement, that actually could technically extend out 19, 20 years, depending on when the equipment is installed, they could potentially get quite a deal on business personal property tax because the floor no longer
Sure,
exists.
I absolutely agree with you,
So,
but I do want to clarify, we are not offering anything. If
Right.
they come, they are asking.
and I'm not trying to discourage it this year, I'm just saying, y'all, it needs.
It's an absolute conversation. We've
So-
talked about that.
So their 2017 abatement is actually completed. It was $7 million more than what the price was to begin with. The one from 2019 that has 3 resolutions with 14 projects, they want to move them all to a 2024 completion date. And they want to drop the amount from 163 to 71 million. Their powerhouse rebuild from 2018 to 2019, they want to move to 23 to 24 completion. Phase A was $1 million over, and then A and B combined is still within the approved amount. But then the new abatement that they want to ask for is $98 million over 10 years, I believe is what it was.
Honestly, you know what, Angie, until they ask and are
So
before
I
the
don't-
board, it doesn't
I'm just
matter.
letting you know, like, that's what's going on. So it's really, I think that their major modification is the 2019 one, from the 163 to 71, because they're just not doing those projects.
But
So,
until it's formally submitted,
Mhm.
as
I know.
I said,
Right,
but what
It
about
doesn't
that-
really
what
matter.
about the ones, I thought they had to come in every year and say, we're in compliance and here's our form.
well, I think that's what
and
happened
that's
last
that
year.
CF1,
That's
the
form
CF1
that- that's why I was getting
And they never
clarification.
came in last year to
We
say,
never got it last year?
No, we
eventually
did. We had several conversations.
Yeah.
but we said they're not in compliance, correct?
I think that there was discussion about the delay of the projects, and then that's where the conversation basically led to their priorities were different, and
No, I get that, but I just want to make sure that they're not continuing to get an abatement, are they?
But isn't it 0 right now?
If I recall, and it was a year, or almost, quite a while ago. If I recall, some of the projects, they were not getting any abatement on, even though they were scheduled to get abatement because they hadn't moved forward with the project.
Gotcha.
So I think that was where we went back and forth and talked to them about that.
So, yeah,
I think that it would be worth our time to make sure that we understand that and maybe have that
so
written out.
last year, the 2019 one, that was the 163 million, actually, they submitted it at 0 cost and 0 is assessed valuation on the form, on the CF1 for that year.
And they were saying that they hadn't started the project and that's why they sent it that way.
Mhm.
Because the middle didn't didn't declare an abatement from 2019 to 2020. From January 2nd, 2019 to January 1st, 2020. So it's just a mess. So let's see what their CF1 say. But I just want to let you guys know, we did speak to them about that, so they may still have more questions, because they didn't really seem like they fully understood what they needed on that. So, what do you have, Clay?
Going back to this park and land donation, so Burns, are you getting emails that go to Burns Harbor Town Council?
Yes.
Okay. So Burns Harbor Town Council, Jane Jordan, Rob Wesley, and Ken Burton. Is that
Yes.
Anita? Okay. The only other thing I have, I announced this at RDC, just for everyone's now, some of you already know, Attorney Brazil will no longer be with my office, so I will be covering BZA and Plan Commission meetings moving forward, definitely in the short term. perhaps in the long term. So any projects or any communication you have for Attorney Brazil, forward to me. Any questions?
Martin, you there?
Yeah,
Oh, different Martin.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hi, yeah, the update that I have is for the bids that were received for the 2021-2 Burns Harbor TCMG project. We received 2 bids on February 7th at 4 p.m. One was from Milestone Contractor North for the amount of $959,301.26. And the other was for Reith Riley Construction Company, Inc. for $776,322.92. We do recommend, we sent a letter to the council with a recommendation for award to Reith Riley for their submitted bid price. This entire budget is within the grant amount that was awarded. And the remainder would just be on the table and go back to, it hasn't been dispersed to the town yet, so it's just going to stay within that.
Martin, what was I reading about Verplank and some emails?
Rob had sent me some areas of pavement destruction that has happened. I believe it's from the freeze thaw cycles right now. We do have Verplank on our list for this project that I recommended award for. Construction would not start until spring though, so I do think that it would need a cold patch in the meantime from either awarding another project, getting quotes from contractors for it or having the street department perform it.
Martin, is cold patching it even really an option if they have to go back through and replow it again? Is it gonna even hold up?
I honestly can't say at this moment. I'd have to look and see how they do. Lifting up the plow around those areas and being gentle, it can last, but that's about the only option that they have. I can ask about how the cold patch will work with the plows. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, if you could, because it's bad out there. I drove down it the other day and thought I was gonna lose a tire at one point.
If we fix that road, do we have to leave that pull-off area that's right there where they keep unloading vehicles still after we've told them several times not to, but I still see them do it all the time? Do you have
Well,
to have that pull-off?
I did not have that in the plan. We did not have that in the plan, so I cannot take it out at this time. We could look into it and then see if there's cost savings in the project to cover it, but without having that included, not at this time.
And I assume that road's still being constructed as a heavyweight road?
It's not being reconstructed at this time, so we're not going to be hurting it's not going to limit any of the capacity of the roadway.
But it's made for semi-traffic, right, to hold those trucks?
I cannot say what it was made for. We're just repaving at this time.
Okay.
I can do a report on that, but that was not included in this project.
I'll look it up. It's probably in the minutes. I would, sorry, I'm looking for his recommendations.
When was
specifically.
Verplank when was it last redone?
I don't honestly remember.
Cause there were emergency repairs done to it last March too.
Yeah.
Yes. Same area.
It's heavily trafficked and it's that awkward curve and all types of traffic that are on it.
And it's just on the list for just repaving it this year.
Yeah, we have full depth patching in some locations, which would include the ones that are currently undergoing the distresses.
Okay.
So yeah, the patches would be rated for truck traffic, but not the entire roadway.
I would make a motion to award the bid to Reith Riley in the amount of $776,322.92.
Discussion? And when did you say that they would start working on these?
We're gonna have a pre-construction conference after the award, so, but most likely it'd be, April at the earliest.
And then I think similar to last year, Martin, we'll have the schedule so we can communicate that to residents, like the roads that'll be coming first and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. We'll have a construction schedule from the contractor and we'll give weekly updates as to what changes and so you can keep the public posted on what's happening.
Thank you.
Roll call, please. Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes,
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Martin, do you have anything else?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Update on First Street. You good?
Yeah, First Street.
Quickly.
Okay. For First Street, I was in contact with Clay over the past week and he sent some easement agreements for our review and they seem to be good. They met what we were looking for. Clay, do you have anything?
No, just to add, I still need to do some further digging on the one per Tecumseh. Because we need to get the deed, date and number when it looks like, based on the documents I have, when Bethlehem Steel deeded it over to Tecumseh sometime in the early 2000s. And then I guess the next step is, approaching those property, obviously Tecumseh, we got an email, we know how to get in touch with them, I think, for Ryan's, we know them, but then there's one little sliver, this lot 12, that's on the east-west portion. That is owned, that was purchased at a tax sale by an individual by the name of Sunil Dute, with an address in Valparaiso, that we need to reach out to. And I'm not sure if the council is charging me with contacting these 3 separate property owners, or if someone in the room has a relationship with Mr. Ryan that might be able to reach out to him and his wife. It doesn't matter to me, I just need to know how.
I'd say you're doing a fantastic job so far.
Okay, that's fine.
Seems great.
All right.
You're doing good work over there.
If someone maybe has a phone number for him, rather than him get the envelope in the mailbox with the return address from an attorney.
I know. Does anyone? Nick, do you by any chance?
I know he was on the council 5, 6, 7
I'll give it
years
to
ago,
you, Clay.
so I figured Jane
Change
might
plug
have.
everyone in their phone.
I don't have it in my phone.
She's got a legit roll. She's got a business card somewhere.
I'll give it to her. I'll write myself a note to get it to you.
and then can I just circle back on this, because we've been doing this for quite some time, so we discovered that this indeed wasn't a town road, is that correct? We thought that it was.
From the best I could, and that was part of what took me a bit, and then in talking with Martin and Shem recently, the dunes, and I think maybe some of you have seen it. This Dune View Edition document was signed and recorded, I think, in 1927.
Okay,
And it has a layout of all the lots and the same lot numbers we have today with the streets, but nowhere on this document are these roads dedicated as public roads.
okay, so that's what this process is doing, is making sure that Oak Leaf or First Street is a dedicated public
Yeah,
road.
And certainly if it was a disputed thing, to go to the courthouse and try to get an easement that way because of the open and notorious use over a period of time, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. But what makes, should be quicker and easier and hopefully less expensive is getting these property owners. Now, I guess my next question is, I know that this the one alley was vacated between, in block one. What about block two? And what about the road between block one and two? What's this? What's on the map?
This predates me.
Maybe we need to get a list of your questions and maybe Martin can help us.
Martin, you know what I'm saying, in that Dunes View addition document, there's block one and there's block two. I mean,
I gotta find it. Give me 1 second. I could take a look with you.
So to make it a dedicated public road, we need to get easement signed from the property owners that are on it,
that's correct.
and then it needs to go to the county or the state.
It'll go that we filed with the county.
Okay.
I mean, I know this, not everybody can see this, but what we're talking about is on the north side of block one and then the east side of block one, going down to the Ryan property down here. Well, there's a lot of what appears to be roads in this neighborhood. And so I'm not as familiar with this neighborhood as I'm sure some of you are. So what about the rest of these roads between block one and two? This alley appears to have been vacated in the middle of block one. I'm not sure if the alley in the middle of block two has been vacated.
Clay, I'm looking at this now. Do you have the exhibit that was attached for the proposed right-of-way limits that we created on October 25th, 2021?
But that exhibit is just block one, so we're certainly taking care of block one. I'm just worried about, the entire addition.
Right, well, and I was asking, is block two on the east side of that?
Block two is on the west side of block one.
On the west side of block one, okay. So everything west of McCool Road has dedicated right of way.
And then the first street / what we call in Oak Leaf is to the east of McCool.
Yeah,
And that's the one that NDOT has in their inventory incorrectly. So when
Right.
Tony said, do we need to send it to state? We would send it to NDOT to get it added to our inventory or corrected in our inventory.
and, I can't tell by this aerial, I don't know if it's even developed, because if this is McCool, everything between McCool and Samuelson Ditch appears to be undeveloped, it's just trees. I don't know.
Yes,
if
that's
they're-
our part that they're gonna dedicate to us. That part of the development didn't move forward with developing. Or it used to have houses on it or something and those were all demolished, but there are no properties or no trailers on that. That's where our
Okay.
parks are.
Well, and don't get it confused with the Shady Side Park that we just,
Well,
because that's also on Oak Leaf, isn't it?
Mhm.
it faced, yes, but it's on the west side.
It's on the west side of Oak Leaf, because it's like in lots in the sixties.
Yeah.
All the lots,
And I can't see what you're looking at, so yeah.
the deed that I have
Yeah.
for Tecumseh, the Perrine zone 45 to 49 down here, but the
Right.
deed for Tecumseh is from 50 to lot 78.
Mhm.
And somewhere here in the sixties, I think, is where the playground equipment is.
Right, and my understanding is that Cleveland Cliff wants to give us that whole vacant land where the park is and north and south of it, because that's all theirs.
Yeah,
And so all of that will become ours,
Yes.
once they deed it to us. But that was never developed in that that first
okay,
proposal.
so block two, I just wanted to make sure, because I couldn't tell based on all the trees. that-
Right.
that was-
Yeah, my understanding is that it wasn't fully developed.
Okay, so.
So do we have questions we need Martin to help with that we can?
Then I guess is Shady Side west of Oak Leaf Lane, does that need to be, or is that just from Shady Side between Oak Leaf and McCool, does that need to be?
No, that does not.
Okay,
From the research that we have, that does have That's shown in as having right of way.
Okay. All right, I will tweak the deeds as needed and reach out to the various property owners and Jane could help me with the phone number off the ride and I'll track down.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident I have some numbers for that. I don't have them in my phone, I looked.
Okay.
James, we have his number.
Oh,
Chief had it.
Thanks.
sure. Thank you.
Anything else?
I don't-
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, building.
Unless there are any questions on my report, other items will be brought up later in the meeting. That's all I have.
I do have a couple questions, sorry, everyone. The group home. What's going on with the group home? Is it always, is it just always a hot mess over there?
I'm sorry, Angie.
The group home,
Oh, the group home, that has all been cleaned up. I have talked to the company that runs that. And they have promised me that they're gonna stay with it. And I'm also in connection with the homeowner who is keeping an eye on the property. And so far, since a week ago, the garbage has been cleaned up and it's been kept clean. So we're
Okay.
keeping an eye.
the pool permit on South Boo Road, has that been taken care of yet, do you know?
That's going to get a violation ticket written out the next day.
Um, I just have DLZ engineering, have they responded yet?
You talking about tech credit?
Yeah,
No, we have gotten absolutely no
Okay.
response. I left multiple.
what are we have to do something about Tech Drive. What's the next step of that? They refuse to respond, so,
Well, we've been through this before. And we got so far as to basically explain to them that our emergency vehicles cannot travel on that road. So I would say we need to pull all of the previous correspondence and find out how far we went to get an action. And if we try that again and they don't, then I guess it would
Can you
be
give that to
Clay's
Eric?
advice.
Yeah,
Make
I've
sure.
reviewed all of that and I do have it already. I
are
do
we
think
at that point that they fixed it last time?
We are at that point. Yeah, we've been here before, all the way to the point where they promised they were gonna pave it and it never got paved and nothing happened after that because it was change of.
I guess I would want to see the very last letter that was sent by the town.
Okay. I'll put
Can you send that to us and then we'll go from there with that because this has been going on for months and they're just literally ignoring us. Castle Street. What are we doing with Castle Street? They've cleaned it up a little bit.
They've cleaned it up a little bit, but he says that's all he's gonna do. There's still cars in the backyard. There's still a whole bunch of debris along. And I've got neighbors that are complaining because they all look at that yard and they see it all and they wanna know what we're gonna do with it. So
Have,
a violation ticket is going to go to them also.
okay. Is it going this week? Is it gonna go this
Yes,
week?
this
Okay.
week.
Did you get a written letter about the shipping container at, David Ronnie Williams?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
That's on the agenda, don't you?
okay.
You want those now or would you like them? I mean, those are,
Oh, just hold on one second, because
those are down below.
I just have a couple questions, because I feel like this list, the violation list just keeps getting longer and longer every month. The Crest home. He's registered as a farm, so he's just allowed to be grandfathered in, is that correct? Is that a thing?
What do you mean grandfather then?
It says here that he's registered as a farm, and he's allowed to keep the property as it is, because he's grandfathered in as a farm.
No.
I don't know, it's at 1108 South Babcock.
That's over on the other side of Trail Creek.
But is he has he been grandfathered in as a farm? And if
That,
he-
he's telling me that. I've looked up all the records. I have not
And there's
found
nothing?
anything that shows anything that's anybody's been grandfathered. He does have a license to be a beekeeper and he sells honey on the property, but the place is a disaster area.
What does this property tax record say? That's where you'd see whether it was a farm or not.
And how long does he live there?
For longer than us.
For longer than the town.
Probably.
I can't swear to that, but probably.
If you look you look under the code by his property use and his acreage, And what he's continued to use, it spells out the farm use and its property use.
So are you saying he is a farm?
That's what I dealt with when I was building commissioner. He fell under that due to the amount of acreage and the current use that he had established. Now, with that being said, things may have changed since I was building commissioner, but
It's listed as agriculture, cash free, and general farm.
Mhm.
So he's allowed to just keep his property however he wants to.
Maybe we need to look
Can you
into it.
look into like regulations on farmland and just exactly what he is allowed to do? And I'm not trying to drag this meeting out longer. I feel like this list is getting longer and we're not making a whole lot of progress on violations. Have they brought anything in for Melton Road? Have they moved besides securing the hole? Have they-
Nothing has been brought in. I've had multiple conversations. I've been told there's a new contractor enacted, and I was told that he was going to get a plotted survey to me by this week. Again, we're at the same avenue as everybody else. With the weather and everything else, that's what they're telling me, that the reasons is they haven't gotten it any further. They did at least put a barricade, they put a fence around the yard to protect from somebody, so they at least got that much done on it. Other than that, there's still a basement floor that's in there that needs to be excavated out. He's supposed to be putting all that in line. I asked him to have something in writing before this meeting and I never got it.
If you've not heard from him by next Friday, will you please email us and let us know? Because he's been on this list for quite some time about this property.
Absolutely.
And then the Sinkowski house on Hagland. How long ago was it that you talked to him?
I talked to him today. I've actually got a letter from him that he gave me today. And I'll present that to the board right now. He's been very sick. He had COVID. He was in the hospital. We've been in communications and today he gave me that letter.
So his plan is to eventually tear it down?
That's what he wants. He just doesn't have the money to do it, he said. That's the
Okay.
problem. But it is a very dangerous building.
We're talking about the white.
The White House in Hadley, yes.
Does he have?
It has a tree laying.
Yeah.
He said he will try and clean it up with weather permitting as much as possible, make sure that everything's boarded up. He's boarded up windows multiple times, but the roof is actually collapsing. The drywall has fallen off ceilings inside the building. And the foundation is shifting and moving. That building is very, very dangerous right now. But he doesn't have the money to collapse it.
It'll take care of itself here soon.
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks, thank you for following up. But yeah, as long as those tickets are going out this week, if you do not hear from them again, will you let us know?
Yep.
Because,
Immediately.
yeah, like I'm saying, the list is just getting, and you're doing a good job. It's not anything to do with you. I would just like this to maybe be down to one page. Do it somewhere smaller.
Just front side now.
Just, yeah, not front and back, just one side. Do you have anything else?
No, just the other items that are down at the bottom. of the-
Do we want to move those up? So now,
I mean, we do have
Mr.
someone from
Naya
the
is
public
here.
there.
Okay.
If you wanna move
so
that.
let's
Okay.
move. Number 3, the unsafe building hearing for 1182 Salt Creek. Up to under reports.
So Jack, if you want to give a history of the beginning of this and when you sent the first letter.
Yes, sir. This has been going on for multiple years. This property, when I became an inspector working with Rob, we had actually investigated this property and gone down in the basement. We saw that there was issues with the foundation walls around it. And at that time, all work was stopped. There was actually a stop work order put on this building almost October of last year. Since then, I've been in contact with Mr. Nye. We've sent him multiple letters. And we are at the point where the building got unsafe. There was open windows that people could get into. There was open electrical. There was open things around. Plus, again, I've had the same situation with a footing around the building, and there's multiple pictures. I have a packet of pictures if the board would like them, or I can email them to you that shows what's going on in the building. Mr. Naya has also done the same copy with the letter that we sent out to him. The last letter that was sent to him was asking him to come to the board because we had not gotten any communication whatsoever at this point. We were at the point previously with this home to where we've actually hired a demolition company and got quotes on having this property dismantled. They did dismantle 2 other buildings on this property. That was done, but the house still stands there and is still something that needs to be addressed. And so Mr. Anaya is here tonight to tell us what he is planning to do at this point. Is that kind of filling?
It is how, so when I had checked with Jack to see what the progress was, he had mentioned that there were some things that had been addressed.
Yes.
And then you sent the next letter that had the
Still-
remaining
still
items
remaining
that
ones,
needed
right.
to be addressed, and then requested that Mr. Anaya be here
And
this
the remaining
evening.
items basically are, there's a cellar door right now that just has a metal over it, it has access to the basement. There's still openings on it, it's just got rocks holding it down. There is many places where the block foundation has shifted and is pushed out, and those are also in the pictures. And then there's an electrical box that has been charged to the electric, and also it's covering it as at one point, there was no cover on it, now there's a cover on it, but there's just a piece of cardboard there. Again, these are all items that are very unsafe. This is on the corner of Salt Creek Road, and it dead ends up to 8094. And there is a property just to the north of that has kids and a family living in there. So I'm just very concerned that we need to get this addressed sooner. And again, we have gone through the whole process all the way up to where we've had to say that this building needs to be knocked down, and it never goes any further than that.
Mhm. Yeah, so did you want to speak to the property?
Yeah. I just got this notice about less than a week, less than 2 weeks. So the newspapers, I know it's hard to get a structural engineer to get up there and do the inspection, so I made some of the phone calls already. And finally, today, this afternoon, I got a guy who's gonna be doing the inspection for the foundation sometime next week. And we want to go from there and we can fix.
Is, I guess my question, Jack, is there anything on the property now that could be secured differently until this happens? Because
Yes,
the original letter was out last year.
correct.
Some things were corrected through the unsafe building, and I've read it, but Clay, help me. We can assess penalties and violations, right? If it's not, if what we're asking to be done doesn't happen, but we also can take it down.
Yeah, so pursuant, just to be clear, pursuant to town code and Indiana code, the town council is the hearing authority. The hearing shall be held on a business day no earlier than 10 days after notice of the order is given. So it sounds like he said about 2 weeks, so we're within that time frame. Each person appearing at this hearing, including the property owner, is entitled to present evidence, cross-examine opposing witnesses, and present arguments. And then at the conclusion of the hearing, at which a continuance is not granted, the hearing authority may make findings and take action to affirm the order, rescind the order, or modify the order. But unless the person to whom the order was issued or counsel of that person is present, the hearing authority may modify the order only in a matter that makes it terms less stringent. But since he's here, if you want to make it more stringent, you certainly can. So I'm not sure if that answers you, but in addition to affirming the order in those cases in which the hearing authority finds that there's been a willful failure to comply with the order, the hearing authority may impose a civil penalty in amount not to exceed $5,000.
I feel like that he has done some things, but based on our building commissioner's evaluation of it, it's still unsafe. And you're saying someone's coming out next week?
Yeah, the inspector is supposed to call me tomorrow to schedule a date to go to the inspection.
And when do you expect then that there might be work started to fix it?
Well, as soon as the inspector tell me, show me where I'm supposed to fix on the foundation walls, I'll get my guys to go up to this.
Who's coming out to do the inspection? What's happening?
I got, he was real busy. I think his name is Douglas.
Do you have the contact information for him?
I just got his phone because he sent me, I was talking when he's very busy, so he could talk to me the phone. And he's a person with his secretary. And the secretary told me that he's gonna be calling tomorrow, so to schedule a date for inspection.
You don't know what company you called though?
I got no idea, he left a message, but
Well, didn't you call him first? I mean, did you call him first?
I called the company and then
Okay, what company was this?
I forgot the name of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
His name's
got-
Douglas, do you have a phone number for him?
Yeah, I got the number.
Okay. Can you give me the phone number?
Yeah, 219
Okay.
462 7743.
Okay.
I think his name is Douglas.
Okay, so I have a question. You first got a notice about this October 25th, 2021.
I didn't get the notice,
It
they,
says you received it. You probably, I'm sure it was certified,
This
which
was
means.
certified and we got.
yeah, I got a letter, but I say about the
No.
violations of this.
So this was October 25th, 2021. Why has the work not been fixed, Jack? Like, why has it not been fixed? It's been 3 mons.
Well, there's a guy into an accident, so I couldn't do anything. That's why it's in, they put the stop order, I didn't do anything because the company, electrical company that I hired, he made a mess in there, so that's when they put the stop order. When I put the purpose to do simulation and what you can cook and valve demolition and windows, I started putting up those windows and gutters. And then when I started working, when they came and they were inspected when in there, they told me, they mentioned something about the foundation. I said, okay, that's fine, just let me know, what should I fix? And they never sent anything, they never told me, they just said something about the foundation, so you have to fix that, but they never told me from where to where. They would have told me, there was summertime, I would get it done. And I never, they never, we put a stop order in there, so that's, I didn't do anything. So now that I got these, I want to save the house, because the house, the first floor and the second floor, they're real well, there's not like saying or anything like that. I mean, yes, the foundation is been approved on the north side and on the east and west side. And the south side is not that bad, it's good again. And I can only I just took a guy who works just on foundation, so he said, I mean, don't worry about it, because as long as you get the permits and you bring
Who said that?
what's his name, Ayala Construction, there's a guy who's gonna be doing the foundation.
Again, the issue here is not about doing remodeling or repairs. The issue here is
It's
about the
unsafe.
structure of the
Yeah,
building.
yes,
I told him from day one and all the way back when Rob and I were there first, this was all the way back in April of last year. We had a conversation with him and who he was using as a contractor. And stated to him that there's issues with the foundation walls. You need to get a structural engineer in here to find out what's going on with these walls and confirm that these walls are stable enough to continue working and that will sustain and be stable enough to hold a home above that. That's been the whole issue. Since then, this house is dilapidated with the windows and the electric and all the other items that we've seen. So we've been writing those as violations, continuing showing that the building is getting worse. The biggest concern here is that somebody needs, I am not a structural engineer, but I can tell from my background and my experiences, there's something that needs to be addressed on this footing and foundation wall. It's the same thing that went on over here at 30 on Melton Road with the other home that we're talking about. That's why that house ended up coming down, because we had a structural engineer come in there and say, no, that property, the structure that's there is not, and that's why I have a feeling is here. But again, I'm not a structural engineer. That's why I told him from over a year ago that that's what needs to be done. And here we are still not getting an answer about the structure of the building.
So your phone call to the person that you're waiting on having a meeting, are they a structural engineer? Okay, so how long has the house been vacant?
It's been vacant for years.
No one's ever lived in there.
Okay, so anything over a year that's been vacant has to be brought up to current code. So your engineer or whoever's gonna do the work needs to know that as well. Everything has to be brought up to the current code.
okay, that's why, that's my plan.
And when's he coming out to inspect
At
this?
some time this following week. As soon as he gets up there, I'm gonna start, I got already people, companies that are gonna be working on the foundation and, plumbers and electricians, I know that they got the center, I know, of course, we it has to go through the inspection from the engineer. So I mean, as soon as we get that, and he showed me what needs to be updated. we go.
Can I ask why you waited almost a year to do this and you did it, you called them?
Well, I had an
You got
accident,
a
so I
notice.
had a surgery in my neck, and my low back, and I don't know what's happening with my leg, so that's why I stopped working.
So Clay, if we are willing to see how this plays out in terms of meeting with this engineer and doing work. If we come back at the next council meeting and nothing's been accomplished or there's no evidence of anything, our action as the hearing body is what? We can,
You can do any of those things that I read off that's permitted in town code and Indiana code, but yeah, so if that's the route you're going, you would want to continue this hearing.
right,
Give him notice verbally tonight that the hearing is continued, so you don't have to send in any more written notices or
Right.
certified mail. Tell him that the hearing is continued until that meeting, what is it, March 9th at 7 p.m.
and then I'm sorry.
An obligation.
So if we continue it, then our options as the hearing body then is to assess penalties. But ultimately, we want, if it's not gonna be fixed by the property owner, we would ultimately want that structure to be gone because it's not safe.
Then you can determine that the structure has been abandoned and then you can proceed with the abandoned property laws to essentially have the structure demolished.
That would
Madam
be
President, if I may.
Yeah, mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have no reasonable expectation that anything's going to be accomplished by next month. So if everybody wants to continue the hearing until next month in order to let that play out, I have no problem with that. But I would just ask Attorney Patton to come prepared next month
because
to
next week.
start the process.
18th, It's gonna take them a week or two to get a report done,
Sure.
and it's gonna be meeting time again, and nothing's going to have.
And I feel like evidence that something is gonna happen is either a contract or, with someone. I mean,
At that
obviously,
point,
it's,
I know at that point, I feel a permit needs to have been
Sure.
pulled for someone to have started doing work. There needs to be an actual permit pulled with a licensed, whoever is doing it. The plans need to have been turned into the town. And we need to see work starting on this, because this has been going on for way too long. Is the house even boarded up enough right now that it's safe?
Other than the basement entranceway, which there's a picture of that needs to be secured. That needs to be completely boarded up and blocked off. Other than that, everything else is secure on the property.
so boarding up and securing the basement.
Walkway or
Basement
basement.
access.
And how quickly can you do that?
The basement?
The boarding up and
Well,
securing?
notice you guys are okay for me going, but there's a doors going out, I mean, I got those, I got some, metal shits on here, I don't know. What should I do in it? Besides that, should I put a board in there or?
It needs to be secured so that
So that
nobody
no one
can
can
just
open it.
lift it up. Right now, there's just rock sitting on sheet metal. Somebody can walk over there, lift it up and make entry to the home.
I would be fine.
That needs to be secured so it cannot
Yes,
be.
that's what it is. I'll pick it up, it's always okay for the month.
Well, I would like it sooner than later, or I would suggest giving you a penalty if it's not done.
Yeah,
You're gonna go take care of that tomorrow?
yeah, I mean, I don't know, it depends on the weather, but I'll try to get it out there tomorrow. Probably
Well,
before it rains.
Yeah, it's supposed to be beautiful tomorrow. It's
Okay, yeah,
Friday.
and, if I put like a caution tape all around the house, is that okay? I mean,
Watching,
No.
there's no stop somebody from walking into this.
That
this
that
area has to
access
be-
must be boarded up and inaccessible to anyone. Right now, a kid could come over there, move the rocks and head right on down.
okay, I'll get up there tomorrow first thing.
Okay, so then can you make sure Friday that is
And
taken
if
care of?
it's not, then he's going to get
Yes.
a ticket.
If it's not taken care of tomorrow, he will be writing a ticket on Friday morning when he's out there.
I'll get up there tomorrow.
Okay,
And, as soon as I get inspection from this engineer, and he show us what do I need to get down there,
Right.
okay, so when you meet with your the engineer.
Hmm?
When they send a report, can you also please have them send it to Jack
Okay. I will do
and to
that.
the council? And if you need that email address, we will get that to you.
That must be done before next meeting.
Yes, it has to be done before next meeting.
Well, and so I'll make a motion if you want me to.
Oh, no,
Oh,
just hold on 1 second. I just want to explain this before we get into a motion.
well, I was gonna, yeah, that's fine.
We also need a plan from you on how you're proceeding, who you will be using
Mhm.
before the next meeting. So when he tells you this has to be done for your foundation, who are you using for your foundation? They also need to be licensed by the town. Everyone who does work has to be licensed by the town. They will not give you an application unless every single subcontractor is licensed with the town before you go to pull a permit. So you need to let whoever you're using know that they need to come so you can get a permit. A permit needs to be pulled before the next meeting.
Okay.
And then we need to actively see work being done on the property. We're not gonna keep doing this. This has been drug out for almost a year. Progress needs to be made.
Okay, now, one question, do we have this bill like every month?
So March 9th, you will have to come back because we will be continuing this year. So you will have to come back March 9th with all of that happening. The report needs to come to us. Your subcontractors need to pull their license. A permit needs to be pulled for the property.
Okay.
So you have a very short time frame to take care of this. So I would suggest you get your engineer out there ASAP.
Mhm.
He needs to email the council and Jack the report. And then if you're deciding that you're going to fix the property instead of ripping it up down, then all of that needs to take place. Subcontractors need to get permits, get licensed. Your permit needs to get pulled. They will not give you a permit though until every single subcontractor has a license in the town, which means they will have to come in here and physically apply for their license. Prove the bond. They will not give you one unless that happens, trust me. Try it. So that all has to be taken care of by the next meeting. Is that something you can do?
Yeah. One
Okay.
one question, because the person that is supposed to be hired for foundations, his license and Chesterton.
Nope, we are a separate town. He will have to come here, prove his bond, apply for a license, and go through our town. Every single person you use has got to come to our building department and take care of that themselves. That is not something you can do for them. So they all have to be licensed and bonded. We cannot use just anyone off the street, licensed, bonded, get a license from the town before you can pull a permit.
Okay.
Do we have, I don't know if we can do it, but do we have like a list of engineers and contractors that are already licensed? Okay.
They do, but that's not
Okay,
the town's
just, I just,
responsibility. Lori does
in
not
the
do
event
that.
that he can't.
And some of the more reputable ones, they are
They-
on file with
yeah.
the county and they're licensed, bonded, insured.
I just, if this guy doesn't come back by tomorrow,
That
there's
is-
some other suggestions.
That's also his responsibility as the homeowner, and he's had almost 11 months to take care of this.
But some of the more reputable, they're licensed, bonded, insured with Porter County and all municipalities within the county. So they may be covered that way, but again, that you need to
That's
make sure it's not some fly by night.
his doing to figure that one out too, because like I said, it's been almost 11 months he's had to take care of this. So Tony, what's your motion?
So my motion is to continue the hearing to the March 9 council meeting. And in the meantime, the expectation is that the basement walkway is boarded up and secured in a manner that can't be opened by 2/10/22. That there is an engineer inspection that is sent to the council and the building commissioner as soon as it is completed. That there is a written plan for the work that will be done to the property, making note that because it's been vacant for so long, that it's got to meet all of the current building codes. That there needs to be permits pulled prior to the meeting and evident that work has been started.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion?
I just have one question. Is there any way, like, I mean, I realize that it is the owner's responsibility to take care of this, but I feel like we just gave a really long list. Is there, could Jack?
I was
send
gonna
an
ask if Jack could
email
email him.
with all
exactly what
those
needs to be
points
done.
that we made, all the things that need to be done, so that nothing is not.
Once I have a copy of what she just, this motion, I will absolutely make sure that motion is sent to him.
Yeah, I just don't wanna miss
Letter.
one, one thing because maybe.
You're not gonna have a copy of this motion.
I'm gonna send what I just said right now.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes,
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Okay, can we also just move with number 4, new business, the storage container removal on at 1128 Max Local?
so this is a residential property that has a storage container. They did receive communication that the ordinance had passed and they would have 90 days to either remove the storage container or apply for a variance to keep it. And I believe if Jack hasn't already, there's a letter from them asking for an extension. Did you say, does it say that they sold it or are selling it?
No, they're getting rid of it and they gave us a date. The letter states the date that they're gonna have it removed. There's only one residential property right now that still is at the BZA that is requesting.
Okay, wait, let's talk about this one.
Right.
So this one
here,
The date on the letter.
yes, I have both letters for both Mr. Soto and for the other person on 149. And give you the board copies of those. These are the two, and the dates that they are gonna have removed. by.
So do the Williams first, please. That's the one that we're talking about. What's the date that they asked?
I was just making sure to read it right.
Oh, sorry.
It just says April 1st, 2022.
That they're able to have it removed by
They would like
then.
an extension to address the shipping cargo container removal in the spring by April 1st, 2022.
And the reason this is coming to us is because it is an ordinance that's required. And so if there's an extension or some modification such as what they're asking for, we as the body, the town council needs to approve that so that they don't receive a violation. And that can either obviously gives them time to remove it, or someone might be asking for an extension to be able to get to the BZA.
So they're requesting this because one of them had surgery, December 20th, and is still under doctor's care, and they also lost a family member, and they will be out of state for some time over the next couple of months. So,
I'll make a motion to extend it until April 1st, 2022. At that point, though, and I would ask that the building commissioner communicates this, at that point, if it is still there, they would receive a violation unless they have applied with the BZA.
Is that the
two.
date that's on there? I'm sorry.
April 1st, 2022, yes.
So I would make a motion to extend it with the communication that if it's still there on April 2nd, that there would be a violation issued unless they have started their paperwork at the BZA.
A second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes,
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. The second one is. I already know his address. It's Mr. Soto. Oh, wait, there it is. 1101 North State Road 149. He has sold it to another party and is requesting an extension until the end of March, early April at the very latest due to the weather.
and he was originally gonna file with the BZA to keep it, and I think in the meantime that he has decided to sell it. I would also make a motion to extend his, but I would put a date of, if he said early April, I would say by the first Friday in April, which
It
is
says
April.
end of March, early April, or April at the very latest. So can we just make it the same date as the other one, April 1st, so that
Sure, I'll make a motion to extend that to April 1st. I think also again with communication to him.
I'll second that motion. Discussion?
I mean, he's asking for late March, early April.
At the very latest.
At the very latest, I just think we should give him till April 8th. That's the first full week in April.
Well, April first is when we're doing the other one, and it's Northwest.
But they asked for April 1st.
They said, yeah, but he said early April at the very latest, so we're giving him till April first, we gave him through the end of March. The end of March in Indiana is not the worst weather ever, we're not asking to move it out in the dead of February. during the blizzard.
Jinx it by saying it.
I mean, the other ones are having, I understand they asked, they have April first. And this is multiple extra months that we've given them,
So he would need to,
and it's sold, so.
right, he would need to understand that if he knows that it's not gonna be gone by April 1st,
they need to
March
communicate.
9th, the March 9th council meeting, he needs to be back here, which is very early in March, but because since the council only meets once a month and we're the ones who are doing it. What
I
was
just
the
think we should
motion?
give this guy till April 8th.
No, we give him till, fine, he can have till April 7th. Then he can come to the April 6th meeting and ask for an extension,
That we don't meet till the 13th.
fine. I still say April first, but do whatever you guys want,
If anybody cares,
I know.
and I'm not sure about, oh, I'm mistaken. I thought April
I guess when he said,
8th was Good Friday.
I guess when he said the end of March, beginning of April. and the-
Well, unfortunately, there's not a date. That's the
So we choose the
predicament.
date. How about right before the council meeting then?
I think you need to do it to give the building commissioner enough time to inspect, investigate, and to put it in his report for the April 13th meeting. I'm not sure how soon before the meeting those reports are generally given, but if you want the reports the Friday before the meeting, please.
That would be included probably in the report since it's April.
Well, his report has to go to BZA too, though.
Before it comes here, it goes PZA.
Well, that's if they petition.
If they petition, no,
If they've
like,
done nothing.
he's talking about like this report.
Yeah, I'm talking about the report to the town council about what this is, but I just kind of trying to help with timing. and everything, so,
Jane, what do you have the motion is? What date do you
Your
have?
motion said until April first, and there is no other motion because that's what you said as a first and Jennifer said as a second. The rest is all discussion.
That's what I was, I
You
know,
didn't
that's
change your
what I'm asking.
Yeah, you didn't change your motion, so that's the motion.
I would like to amend my motion. And the date be April 8th.
I'll second that. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Bing Hardy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak?
Yes.
Councilman Loving?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott?
No. Okay, Rob.
Corinne pointed out to me the other day, that we had an icicle problem on the south side of the council chambers here. And upon further investigation, the gutter along this entire section of the building is disconnected from the,
You mean town hall,
yes,
south side?
no, right here.
Right, just right up in the south side.
And Lori looked up in the file today, the roof was put on in 2018, September of 2018. We should not be having these kind of issues with soffit fascias falling off the building.
Because at that
and
point,
gutters are falling off the
you fixed
building.
them. Did they do the gutters with it, or did they just do the roof in 2018?
I don't remember,
They just did the.
just the roof.
So the gutters are however old they are.
Yeah, this gutter is completely separated from the side of the building. The corner of the soffit fascia over here on the southeast corner of the building is coming down. Similar to what it did behind the very back corner of the police station. And I have Morton Buildings coming out on Friday to give take a look at the building, windows and doors. And I am gonna ask him to also look at the soffit fascia.
Are they looking at the south side of the building too?
Yes,
Okay, can you please ask them if there is any way to get a price? Because we can't keep having quotes, and I know it's not your fault, we can't keep having quotes that, it just depends on what happens when we open the building up. Like, is there any way to figure this out? Because I don't wanna give a bid to someone and then they open it up and it's 4 times as much as it was.
correct.
So is
I
there-
I will ask him.
we need to figure out a way to get some quotes that don't say, well, when you open up, it's gonna be a whole different price.
Okay.
I don't know how you go about doing that, but I bet you can work something too.
We'll figure it out. One or the other.
I mean, do we have to take them all apart before people come here? I really don't know. I don't know what to do. But it needs to get fixed. You know how to do this?
Just request a time and material and they'll do a max for a time. And then if it comes in cheaper, nobody's gonna complain about that. It's the only way you're gonna be able to do it because of the,
That's fine. If that's how we have to do it, so we have at least a max amount that it could cost. So that we have some kind of clue, so we're not going in blind and then, because Tony's gonna yell at us if they want $30,000 more than what they said.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
Oh, yeah, him.
over there with her spreadsheets, I don't want to hear.
But yeah, he'll be here Friday. He's gonna call me probably tomorrow and give me a better idea of what time he's gonna be here.
Can FBI do that too? Can they come back through and revamp their quote?
Yeah, I can ask him for that.
Okay,
just call me today, actually.
Yeah, he called me earlier too.
did Servpro come back out today?
Yes, he did. And I asked him if he could, at all possible, get me that quote back this afternoon, and he was unable to.
He's been trying to track people down for this bathroom. Absolutely dry, literally just never called back. No, they called back, they require air testing before
Air
they will
quality
even,
testing before.
before they will
Oh.
even give you a quote or
Interesting.
come out to give you a quote.
Mhm.
Who's the other one? Service Master? Is that the other one that we called? Is that the one?
Yes, Service
Okay,
Master will be
Service
here
Master's coming
tomorrow.
out tomorrow. Servpro he's been following up with them, and so I called today, and he suddenly has to come out to get more information to be able to give a quote weeks later. And then the other one, he does have another quote for $3,000.
There's a company out of Valpo, I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
What's the quote to do?
it's
Mold
literally,
remediation, removal of all the building materials. And either treating and stain removing the office and bathroom walls,
Mhm.
or may have to replace.
So, but they're not doing the replacing.
No,
They would tear it out.
this is just the mold abatement.
Yes, that's, yeah.
And then just a heads up to you, Tony, Rob,
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
gonna sound like a dumb girl right now. What's the big machine that's broken? Is that the loader?
Yes,
I got it. The loader, he has to have someone come out and look at this thing. I know we can't replace it, it's super expensive. But he is gonna have someone come out, they have to come out and give him a price to fix it. It's all sorts of busted at this point. You can't.
What's the main purpose that we use the loader for?
loading salt.
Only salt?
Well, no, we use it throughout the year for,
But right now it's getting salt
Everything,
into the
yes.
trucks.
So you can't use it at all right now.
It's.
we don't have a choice really, Tony. I mean.
You don't have a choice whether or not, like, you have to use
we have
it?
to use it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm asking.
But you
Yes.
can't like pick the bucket up and turn at the same time, the hydraulics are getting so bad. So they're gonna come out and.
Brake fade is something terrible, and I'm worried that we're going to damage other pieces of equipment with this backhoe because of the brake fade.
Mhm.
Um,
I guess we'll have to see what they say.
Yeah. We spent a considerable amount of money last year attempting to get the brakes fixed, and it was to no avail.
How's the new fire truck?
Fantastic.
I'm glad something's going right over there.
Yes.
Something's working. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Anyone have anything to Rob? Mike, where do you?
You guys, how do you guys like the monthly?
I love your new monthly report. It's great. I like the detail. I'm not being sarcastic. I like the detail. I like this.
Do you want to get hard copy, but can you,
If you could put a hard copy in everyone's mailbox,
because it's a lot more
Yeah.
difficult to read this.
yeah, and I like to have them at the meeting. I don't like to be staring at my phone or computer the whole time.
But if we're virtual, email.
Well, she always emails it. They always
Yeah, she
email.
emails. Okay.
Yeah, you'll always
But
get
I thought
it.
we were changing. Sorry.
I would like to say that Kyle has turned in his resignation as of the 31st of January, so he no longer is with us. Do you?
Yeah, so I would like to make a motion that we advertise for a police officer. I think that we should take applications for the next 2 weeks. That would give the police department a week to interview, provide all of the applications to us along with their recommendation. And if we have someone they recommend and that we agree with, that there would be that we would hire at the next meeting.
I'll second your motion.
Discussion?
Where do you expect to advertise it? Because the Times has got like a 5-day lead time before it'll show up in everywhere.
Do we have to put it in a newspaper? Can we put it on Indeed? Well, no, is there like a requirement for it to be in the newspaper?
No, but there was no direction, and that's where you've done it in the past. That's why I asked. And with the Times, there's a long lead time to get in the paper, several days.
Like,
If you're only leaving the window open for 2 weeks, it reduces that window. That's why I'm asking.
Sure. Do you have a place that you guys post jobs for officers?
Yes, sir. I'm not reading.
I mean, like for anyone in the area that's looking, do you have like a website that or somewhere that keeps that?
So the Northwest Indiana Law Enforcement Academy will post our job site. so
Okay.
that Certified and or prospective officers can see what jobs are there. So
Okay.
we can give them the information and they can put it on there,
Okay,
which would be our target audience, if you will.
right,
Because I would assume, like, so if we're gonna, I was out of the room. But if we were gonna do a hiring process, there's generally 2 types. There's like an emergency hire process, which is for certified law enforcement officers. And there's a straight hire process, which is potentially field training, academy, everything else, like 9 months before you see a guy on the road.
right.
So I mean, would we be looking to do an emergency hire process, look for a certified officer first? And if we didn't find a valid candidate, then maybe do a different hire?
I guess that would be my suggestion with your explanation of that.
Yeah,
And you were out of the room because I said to advertise the position that we're hiring. Let's see. If we did it, our next meeting is March 9th, so through the Friday, the 25th. And that would give you a week to interview, make a recommendation, and then share all that with the council for our March 9th meeting.
Okay.
But we would need the recommendations sooner. We can work out that date. We can also use our website because it has a way to post jobs, so we can put it through on the town website and all of our social media. But like if you mentioned your target audience is through the academy.
I think those other aspects are great additions.
Yeah,
I just think that if we do it through the academy as well, we potentially can reach people that are outside of our county or
Right.
outside of our current reach.
right. So the academy, town website. Indeed. And so it's through our social media. And your social media of your, once we have it posted on the town website, we can share that link to you and you can put it on.
Actually,
your
that would be great. So we want to advertise that we're accepting applications through the 25th, correct?
Is that Friday? I think that's what I said. Yes.
Okay.
And I can work with them to get that Indeed posting up tomorrow and the academy posting. And the town website.
How's the new truck?
I I made a motion, so I don't know if we need to vote.
What?
That's a motion.
Did I make a
The
motion?
whole, no, she made a motion.
Oh.
The whole timeline was motion.
I just want to make sure if Jane needs to vote that she gets it.
Are you seconding that?
She already did.
Oh,
Okay, yeah. That's why I was like, what are you asking me to do?
Roll call. Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman Card,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes.
How's the new truck?
So wait on parts.
Well, maybe next month, all right? Yeah. Do you have anything else, Mike?
Cheers, if you have anything else.
Do you have anything else?
That's great.
Okay, Bill, we're up to you, fire.
Other reports, I don't have anything unless you have something for me.
I don't. Anyone? Hey, Sandy.
Just stay cool, dude.
Sanitation, nothing other than, had some call outs and still working, getting some new pumps replaced and working on lift stations.
Is Kim on?
No, she wasn't able to connect to the Zoom, so she did text me, so let me know what's going on, and she is working with Monica. Her last name is slipping my mind right now. but
Jimenez.
What is it? Jimenez. And she, so that she wants to park the food truck at the park, so Kim is working with her on how to do that. It's quiet time at the park. What else are they working on? I know Dan Ameling is working on the field there. They're still working on that. Of course, not now in the snow. They'll get back to that soon. Other than that, that's really all that's going on in the park.
Okay, RBC.
Oh, and they're gonna have Easter egg hunt. We're Easter egg hunting this year. They're planning it.
Is there a date?
What?
Their date yet?
They don't have a date yet, but they are in the planning stages and they are pretty determined to have an event.
Did you just wake up? What? Okay, RDC. Nick?
Yes, ma'am. We spoke about the Westport PUD, still talking about financing, hoping to break ground. We were told between April, June timeframe. I asked if Tina could do her best to lean closer to April if possible, but everything's moving on that. On the trail, ran into a couple issues over on section 1B, which is to the east of the highway, as it relates to whether or not we're allowed to put the bridge on both sides where it's on federal property, et cetera. So they're looking into that. And then finally, we did approve the purchase of 3 trail counters to be placed at the trailheads and at the where our section of the trail meets up with Portage. And those are just going to count users of the trail. The purpose of that is to show usage, and Tina believes that it will help us with future opportunities to be able to show utilization on the trail.
Anyone have anything for Nick?
Just something else regarding the RDC with Commissioner Hull's resignation from the council and RDC and all of their boards, there's a vacancy. And speaking with our treasurer Jordan, she indicated that position was a presidential appointment. So it's up to President Scott to appoint someone to fill that vacancy.
I can't even remember that I'm on this board. Cool.
And so that's what I'm here for. And so you can make that appointment.
Can I make that at the March meeting?
Well, the only
Or
thing
maybe
is
do that.
the March council meeting will be
After
after
the
the
RDC.
RDC meeting. And I think even though if it was a council appointment, it would have to be made in a public meeting. The fact that it's a presidential appointment, presumably you can make it at any time, but I think historically, the president has announced that at a council meeting. So if there are, as a record in the minutes of who that person is. So
Do I have to make the motion for this?
it's your appointment, you can just state it publicly. Jane, I don't know if there's a record of presidential appointments that don't occur in a public meeting, how that's documented. But I
It's
think-
typically done at a meeting, so, yeah.
Okay, so I'm appointing Jennifer McCarr to the RBC. Is that? Selection?
And then, Jane, just for clarification, is that calendar year appointment?
Yes,
Okay. so
Yes.
Just for,
So this is through 2022,
yeah,
Yes.
so those
December
appointments will have to be,
done again in January.
well,
Or
really,
December.
they should be done in January for the proceedings for 2023.
Done in December
And they should, in the December 2022 meeting,
or January.
you should appoint, because otherwise, the RDC meets an hour before the town council, and then you have a bunch of people there who aren't official.
Yeah. Anything else for RBC? Shared Ethics Advisory Committee. Commission. Someone has that seat, right? Who is this person?
Nick appointed him, the council appointed him.
I said, I would just like to reach out because. we have Christmas. I don't know what, who it was. Nick, who is the representative for this?
It's a council appointment. The gentleman's name was Rob Horning.
There you go.
Has anyone heard from him?
I'm not.
Okay.
I know that the Shared Ethics Advisory Committee has reached out to him, that organization, because they CC'd me on an email, inviting him to the meetings, telling him when they are, giving him his paperwork he needed, and all of that. So I know they've reached out to him. Using the email he provided on his application. I have not heard from him.
Okay, I will reach out to him tomorrow.
They don't meet every month either, though,
I
so
know.
maybe he has not attended a meeting
And
yet.
so I will just reach out,
Mhm.
check on that. Okay, correspondence. Item notice of public comment, part 70 operating permit, AM stabilizers for Porter County, Indiana. Item notice of approval, FESOP administrative amendment, Herschel Laboratories, Inc., Chesterton. Item notice of approval, SSOA, durable collision and glass, 27-005. 244 Mountain Road, Chesterton, Burns Harbor. Presentation of resolutions, petitions, communications, ordinance, and remonstrance. Bill, can you guys come next month?
See if they're all available with
Okay.
us.
Let us know if March or April works best for you, so we can make sure it's there.
Yep, I sure will, thank you.
Ordinance 310-2022.
Ordinance 310-2022, an ordinance of the Burns Harbor Town Council amending the text of chapter 15 zoning concerning accessory buildings and accessory uses within the town of Burns Harbor, Indiana.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Discussion?
This is on second reading.
Yes.
Yes. Roll call?
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Ordinance 311-2022, amending the text of chapter 4, building code 13. Second reading.
Ordinance 311-2022, an ordinance of the Burns Harbor Town Council amending the text of chapters 4 building code, 13 miscellaneous, 14 subdivision control ordinance, and 15 zoning ordinance concerning the wording, numbering, and formatting of the town code of Burns Harbor, Indiana.
Motion to adopt.
I second that motion. I'll just give us some discussion. Roll call.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Scott, Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Ordinance 312-2022.
Okay, this is the first reading. Ordinance of the Burns Harbor Town Council establishing a uniform allowance.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Discussion.
For Jennifer's reference, it's for the police department.
Discussion.
Jane, did you want to bring up the point about the actual cost?
Oh, and I think I sent this when I sent a draft in the meeting minutes packet, that the council had directed for the uniform allowance to be $1,500 for the year, knowing that it's going to be on their in their payroll check. It will require the town to match Social Security, Medicare, and their PERF contributions, which will lean more towards, I think I said 17,500 maybe, instead of 1,500, so that you're aware of that.
Can I ask a question? And I just don't know how town works with payroll. Are you allowed to put fringe benefits on the paychecks in the town? So that they aren't taxed, but it's fully deductible from us?
I'm not following you.
I'm not either. The IRS says these are taxable, PERF says it's taxable.
I mean, technically, if, the decided to give gift cards at Christmas, $100 gift card at the grocery store, that would be included, maybe not on their pay stub, but it would be included on their W-2 at the end of the year as income. And so this would be deemed as income to the town employee.
Okay. I just know that there are some fringe benefits that are tax free. So that's why I was wondering if this would be included in one.
No, because it's you would have said benefit, but it's in the form of cash or the form of, the money, actual money, it's not. If the uniform was, I think it would be different if the uniform was actually purchased and then just provided to them.
I just know there's some things that are, they don't pay tax on, but you can fully deduct.
Don't know if you don't ask.
If they can prove that it's used for a uniform, they can declare it on their
On their
taxes,
Yeah,
but we still have to tax
Roll call.
it. Councilwoman McCart,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes.
If you want this to pay out this month, Jane, we need to approve it now, right? With an emergency, because it's scheduled to go out this month.
I think the only issue with that is you would need to have a unanimous approval to suspend the rules.
Right, I guess that's what I meant, to suspend the rules.
And I don't know if you can have unanimous.
Why?
Somebody needs to abstain probably since the subject matter.
And I guess I don't, that's a new one on me, if an abstention counts towards unanimous, and I don't think it would be.
Does she have to abstain on a motion to suspend the rules? That's a procedural motion.
She doesn't have to abstain on anything, but it just, would it be viewed as a conflict of interest?
I was just trying to make sure procedurally that it was in place so that it could happen in February.
Right.
So if it needs to wait, that's fine.
So if it's for this year, it will just be in March.
I don't write the checks.
I mean, I guess, trying to think outside the box. If she was absent from the meeting for a short period, then the motion to suspend the rules would be unanimous. And the minutes would reflect that.
I don't think that a few weeks is gonna hurt, so we can wait.
So we'll just wait till March.
I just want to keep everybody out of trouble and. that-
No, and I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the date, so.
Okay, so this is probably gonna sound like a dumb question. So she can't vote on them. Does she sign the ordinances that pertain to those either?
She shouldn't,
Okay.
and I know that I've seen sometimes an ordinance has a column of names for yays and nays. And maybe on those, we have one for us. I've never seen a column for abstain.
I haven't either, but I was gonna say, she wouldn't wanna say nay, because that's not what
She
she
wouldn't
voted,
she wouldn't
but
want to say either, but
Yeah.
we definitely do not sign. Perhaps on the ordinance, I don't know, Jane, with your comfort level, but just for the record, someone were just to print the word, all capital letters abstain above her signature block,
we can do that.
just so it's recorded, and I think that would help with, State Board of Accounts in case there was ever a question, that
Why
we're-
she's never signing any of these?
why her name's not, why her name's on there, but it's not signed, and that's just,
Staff anniversaries. Tim Lucas.
Wait, that brings up a whole point. If she has a conflict, she needs to declare it in a meeting. She has to fill out the proper paperwork that needs to be filed at the clerk's office and sent to the State Board of Accounts. And that wasn't discussed at this meeting yet, so she may want to do that while we're thinking about it.
You just say that you have a conflict of interest.
I have a conflict of interest. My husband is the assistant chief of Burns Harbor.
Jane, does she need to state that at every meeting where?
No, she needs to present, every year,
Yeah,
and since this is her first meeting of the
Sure.
year, she needs to say it, so January of next year, or the first meeting she attends next year,
yeah,
she'll need to state that again. She has to fill out paperwork every year, she has to send to the county clerk's office every year, and it's gotta be filed there. It needs to be sent to State Board of Accounts every year as well.
and that would probably be similar for the RDC, as the RDC provides any funding to the police department. Because I think there's times before, didn't the?
I don't know if she has to do it because she's on the RDC. I think her stating it here, that
Okay,
there's a conflict,
But-
that would cover everything.
but she should still abstain because didn't
Oh, I
RDC
see.
buy the bikes?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. So yes, if the RDC is doing, if that's what she chooses to do, and RDC is doing something for the police, sorry, I misunderstood where I'm going with that. What's that?
I think there's one more that she needs to declare, just to get it out of the way.
We also, I declare a conflict of interest for JC Signs and Design. It's a personal business that we ran.
Unless the business comes before the town or something.
It does.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because, yeah. Okay,
And as far as, I don't believe, as far as plan commission matters, she can vote on things that her husband has voted on the plan commission. She just can't vote on appointing him to the plan commission. Am I correct in that?
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
This is a
Definitely
new situation.
she cannot vote on appointing him to the plan commission, but I'm just wondering when the plan commission recommends something to the council.
Yeah, I feel like in the past, and Tony, you've been here in the past when Mike Crane was on the board, and they would appoint his wife to the park. I don't feel like he's abstained from that.
I don't
feel
think
like-
so. I mean, we could go back to the minutes on the year that
Right.
he was on the board and
Yeah.
appointed and see how they voted, just to get the answer to that.
I know I wasn't sitting here when that happened, I can tell you
Sure.
that.
And we certainly could research the matter a lot
Yeah.
deeper, talk to the people, powers that be at the
I
state.
just don't want
See what they
everything that
want.
the plan commission does, she has to abstain from that.
I don't
Right.
know why she would.
And the only difference I would see with that is the plan commission, we'd have no gain from anything that was happening within that plan commission, as opposed to if she voted on anything police related, we would.
No, yeah, definitely, that makes, it's just, you know, affirming something you did as a plan commission member. I don't see that that's an issue, but we can dig into that further.
I just don't feel like it was. I felt like Mike Prine, and I know it's a little bit different type of board, but I feel like when the park came before the council and they asked for things or did things when Leanne was on the park board, I don't recall our previous attorney having an issue with him being able to participate in that vote and discussion.
I guess there's a difference between and voting to appoint your spouse to a board,
Mhm.
voting to endorse what your spouse has gone along with,
Right.
or a request for public funds for their department
Mhm.
versus funds that ultimately go into the spouse and the marital couple's pocket.
Yeah.
That there's a different lanes that
Mhm.
we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It was on our toes.
Yeah, stir the pot. Okay, think we're gonna get to some new business finally, folks. Okay, so Tim Lucas has been here. Tim Lucas has been here for 8 years. Please tell him thank you and congratulations and good job. Keep it on, keep it on. Police recognition. And this is a big list. I'm gonna say congratulations beforehand. Thank you for everyone and all your work you do. This is pretty impressive. Okay, so Assistant Chief Jeremy McCarty, it's McCart, right? Sergeant Tim Lucas, Corporal Austin Haynes were presented with the Phoenix Award for the Porter County Substance Abuse Council for the administration of Narcan that resulted in a life saved from an opioid overdose. Jesus. Sergeant Tim Lucas and Corporal Austin Haynes were recognized for outstanding performance in operating while intoxicated enforcement in 2021 by the Porter County Substance Abuse Council. And Corporal Austin Haynes was given a letter of commendation by the Porter Police Department for action taken during a stabbing that occurred on Christmas Day. Thank you for service, guys. Thank you for putting yourself in danger and everything you do for our town. You're doing a fantastic job. We took care of number 3, we've taken care of number 4. Now we need to talk about decommissioning the 2017 Ford Explorer with the VIN number of 1FM5K8AR4 HGC 14077. It was a trade-in on the police department's new truck.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Discussion?
And it's my understanding that that vehicle is at the Ford dealer now. It is off premises, so that's why we put it on the agenda. And as soon as you guys say declare that it's decommissioned, I'll contact the insurance company tomorrow and make sure it's removed from our insurance. So if that's what the board wants to do.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Biancardi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak?
Yes.
Councilman Loving?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Scott?
Yes. Approval of the January 2022 financial report.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bozak?
Yes.
Councilman Loving?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart?
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott?
Yes. Approval to pay vouchers with 3 or more signatures. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Councilman Loving?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart?
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott?
Yes. Approval of purchase order submitted. There is one that is gonna have to, just a heads up, it's gonna have to be put on the table still. Brad's not here, but I don't see it in this pile. The Terrastar tires, some of them got replaced, but more of them are they can barely move the truck. So he was taking that down there, I believe, though. So just a heads up. I can let you guys know when that gets put on the table.
I don't think we necessarily need a motion for this, do we, Jane? I remember asking to have it added so that we don't forget. We just need to initial them, right?
In the past, you guys, the last couple meetings, you guys made a motion to approve.
Oh, okay, because that's how it reads. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase orders submitted with 3 or more signatures.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman McCart? Yes. Councilwoman Dean Hardy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak?
Yes.
Councilman Loving?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott?
Yes. Old business, COVID-19 council state of emergency protocols.
Yeah, so you probably all, except for the new council member, got the email I sent, what was that, 10 days ago, so the governor's been waiting until the day before the day of the expiration, so normally he's done it at the end of the month, February's short month, so that's a Friday, so I've got it on my calendar to look, see where we are, but unless and until, through the month of February, the rest of the meetings this month can be virtual. I suspect it'll be continued once again, so coming up on 2 years.
Wow. Crazy.
So we're just continuing on with what we're doing, following the county masking plan. And following the most current CDC guidelines.
Yeah, I can tell you, you can't get into the courthouse or the admin building, courthouse and Portage, any county building without wearing a mask.
So we'll just keep going with the color coding. We're currently at red right now still.
I've been brushing that page all day. Oh, yellow, come on.
Okay, old business employee lunch periods.
Okay, so, we did some research on employee lunches and looked to see what some areas around us were doing, what the county was doing, and yeah, nobody else is paying for lunch. So we need to make a change to our employee handbook, stating that, we're not going to, there's no longer going to be paid lunches. I would like to start that in June and give all the departments an opportunity to decide what they want to do as far as their lunch break. How do they want a 30-minute lunch break? Do you want a 45-minute lunch break? Do you want an hour lunch break? I don't feel that it needs to be the same across the board for every department as far as the time that they have set, but
Police and fire are exempt from this.
Okay.
So EMS.
And
you know,
yeah, so put your hands down. Didn't leave a lot of finish.
So of course it is going to extend work days for people. So I do ask that the department heads get together with your team, with your crew, talk amongst yourselves, see what it is that you want to do, get with your liaison and let us know what the plan is. Again, I would like a June 1st start date on changing.
So Jack, speak with Lori.
Rob's not here.
I'll talk to Rob.
Yeah, figure out your, your times, want to make sure we still have coverage. We want to make sure that we know or is building, are you guys gonna take a 30-minute lunch break? Maybe Park decides they want a 45. I mean, it's something that you guys can decide amongst yourself, but it's definitely something that we have looked at together and we need to make that change. So, can you make a motion for that? So to sum it up, I would like to make a motion that starting on June 1st, the town will no longer be paying for lunch breaks for employees. And that each department meet.
However, fire, EMS, and police are exempt from this policy.
Yes.
The only firefighter we have is Bill, so you're saying Bill, basically? Our firefighters are not paid
I know.
employees, our EMS are.
I don't take lunch, I'm on call, just like the police.
Yeah, he's on call, so no, so he's the fire, police, and EMS.
So
Yes.
basically, street department,
Street department, building, sanitation, park.
Yes.
When you say police, are you talking police officers or all police employees?
Police officers.
Okay, very good. I just want to make
Sorry.
clarification.
Your clerks are included in this.
Yes.
Wait, so the clerks don't get a paid lunch, but the officers do. I just need to understand
because
so
there are-
that it's clear.
Yes.
That's all I'm just trying to get clarification.
Yes.
Okay.
And then at the park for teen summer help, based on the Indiana laws, under the age of 18, if they work 6 hours, they do get a paid 30-minute break. And Kim does have all that stuff posted at the park.
15-minute breaks.
30-minute break. If they choose to take a 15 and a 15, they can take a 15 and a 15. We just have to offer them a paid 30 minutes. I believe I interpreted that correctly. So do I need to start again with my motion? Are we good?
And you're allowing them to decide the length of time that they're having for lunch, so it could be a different process from one department to the next. So the people who are processing payroll have to know whether one department gets a half hour off and somebody gets 45 minutes, when somebody gets an hour.
Yes, they'll report that to us and then we will.
Don't they have to, won't they have to write in and out on their claims now?
Yeah, they're
I mean, well,
paying.
because right now it's an 8-hour day with lunch included. I guess I thought that they would have to put their time in, time out. There's that gap for lunch.
Sure,
and
I'm
then-
just curious what the HR company would think about different departments having different rights than other departments. So if you're saying the park only gets 30 minutes, but the street department decides they're getting an hour, but the building department decides they're only getting 45 minutes, would there be an issue with equal employment rules? That's, I
It's
don't
unpaid,
know.
Right?
Pardon me?
It's unpaid.
Sure.
So they're choosing the length of their day.
Yes.
I mean, I think there's input from the employees. I think you have to weigh that individually.
And we could get input from all the, all the departments and they can come back to us with that next month. And we could decide on something that is uniform throughout the whole town. If that makes, uniform makes things easier to remember what the rules are for who, if you would rather do it that way.
I just don't know if there's a law that requires you to treat all the employees similarly. That's all I'm asking. I don't know enough about the HR
Well,
law.
I guess you
And
are
it sounds like you're giving the department the opportunity to decide how long their break is. And I don't know if that would cause an issue if it wasn't uniform across the board, is what I'm saying. Exempt the emergency
Yeah,
people.
I think,
I
well,
get
if you
that.
treat them similarly, that it's all an unpaid lunch.
Okay, as long as that's what.
But
I mean, I don't know the
we
rules,
can
and that's
ask
why I'm
and
pointing it
do
out.
it same across the board. Doesn't matter.
Just something to explain, and that way I could explain it to Rob too. Sorry, I can't talk with these things on. So full-time employees, if they take, presume, an hour lunch, they're working a 9-hour day then? Do they also get the 2 15-minute breaks, I believe by the labor laws?
I believe that's just the 15-minute break is the labor law.
Yes,
Yes.
okay, I just want to explain it right.
Wait, so I don't know that she answered your question. If they take an hour lunch, that's the only break.
Correct,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking, or do they get the 15-minute?
Well, we have to, isn't the labor law the way that I read and interpreted it, Clay, is that the labor law is that you have to, for 8 hours, you have to give them paid 15 minutes.
So technically in Indiana, there's no rules on this unless you have,
But I thought that there was for the 15-minute break.
unless you have a collective bargaining agreement or a contract, there's technically really no laws in Indiana. I'm fine with still the 15-minute breaks, I don't care.
I thought that I read on there that it was that you had to do a 15-minute paid break.
It sounds like we're going in the same direction in terms of unpaid lunches, but it sounds like that maybe we should get some feedback from the departments in terms of a length. And next month decide on what that length is gonna be, and also know what then people's work hours will be, because that'll be
Yes.
important as well to, state up front. If an office hours, if our clerk's hours change at the window, or you're out for lunch or something,
that's gonna be necessary to know.
And I thought, Jane, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you read it, that paperwork that you just gave us to post, didn't it? I swore I read something about the 15-minute breaks, that's why I asked it.
Right, and that's why, but I can't remember because I read the child, like, you know,
I
the
don't
child
know,
labor.
I just gave you the post.
The posters, the labor law.
Employment rights.
Corinne packed those stuff and
Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
like, what?
I just had a post-it, please put these up, and I saw
Sure.
something on there, and that's what brought that up, so I just want to make sure we're not getting ourselves in a loophole. But I'll pass it on.
Yeah, the Q and A on the Department of Labor, are employers required to provide breaks to employees? Answer, Indiana state law does not require employers to provide rest breaks or meal breaks. Certain other categories of workers, such as airline pilots, truck drivers, and workers covered by a union collective bargaining agreement, may be entitled to mandatory breaks under other applicable regulations or by contract. And then, of course, it's different for youth.
So what, I'm sorry?
It's different for youth.
Okay. So do we want to wait till next month to make a motion to make these changes? Or should I still make the motion that beginning on June 1st, the town of Briggs Harbor will no longer pay for employee lunches? And then by next month, we would like a report from all of the departments on how long they like their lunch break to be and what the employee hours were changed to, so we know, you know, the times that everybody's gonna be where they're supposed to be.
Again, if you're looking for a suggestion from me, I would suggest that you tell the department heads that that is the plan and the direction the council is going, and you'd like some feedback. And letting them know this, you know, plan is to be effective 1st of June, and then have that motion and everything, because you may tweak it further beyond just the, you know, paid lunches. You know, you might want to be more specific, and we may need to update the handbook.
Well, we will have to update the handbook, and that's what I was gonna add, is knowing exactly the language that we need to put in it is gonna be important.
And so rather than to do it like in bits and pieces over the next few months, you know, get some feedback from the employees about what they want, or what the request is regarding breaks or lunch length, et cetera.
Okay, so you don't think that I should make a motion setting that date when it's gonna be effective now?
I think that'd be premature. I think
You think what? I'm
I think it would be too early to do
Okay.
that, maybe not
Okay.
having had conversation.
Okay,
I think just,
I don't disagree with it. I just think that there's more conversation.
right, I just didn't
feedback.
wanna, you know, getting too close and
yeah,
table on table.
Mhm.
I think just if that's the consensus of the council, direct the department heads to talk to the employees and report back in March what the consensus is amongst their departments.
Okay. I can send that email. Okay.
Go to the order of the community and other business that may come before the council.
Angie emailed me the form for you to sign, so I don't know if before we leave here, if we need to print that off, and Jane, I can sign my part for it, so we're not waiting on me. So just wanted to bring that up.
Okay.
I apologize, one other thing regarding these easements up on Oakleaf Lane. These easements say that we are paying for this easement $10 and other valuable consideration. I don't want to ring that bell. I'm not worried about the mill, but with the other two individual property owners and have them thinking that they're getting a big check from the town. So I'm not sure if you want to give me some direction on if there's some holdouts, what the town is willing to compensate these individual property owners for this easement.
That we can pave the road. I don't know. Can we, I mean,
are you wanting to have all this done for next month's meeting?
No, I'm just.
Okay, because I feel like if there's a holdout or a request, if we,
Yeah.
I would rather, I don't know what to say. Remember to put it out
I could
there.
take that, you know. Take it out completely. If you want me to take out the consideration.
Yeah.
That they are just giving us.
We're just gonna give
yeah,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Anything else?
I motion to adjourn.
I second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Biancardi,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.